channel. So welcome to Social Trust today. In the previous class, we started a lesson number 4, the climate of India, right? In the previous class, we discussed about what is climate, what is weather, what are climographs. Okay, we discussed. So today we will discuss about the factors influencing climate and weather. So what factors are? See, in the textbook there are 4 factors given. First factor is latitude. Latitude, distance from the equator, so latitude, distance from the equator. Next to land and water relationship, altitude and upper air circulation. So these 4 factors can influence weather and climate. First of all, we will discuss about how latitude and distance from the equator can influence climate and weather. Where? See, the average temperature of Earth can be reduces as we are moving away from the equator towards to poles. Hence, the average temperature of entire countries in the world can decreases as we are moving towards to north from the equator. So let us see the globe. So this is equator well known. So which can be divided into equal parts, right? This is north pole and the south pole, right? See, as we are moving equator towards 2 poles, towards north pole and south pole, the average temperature of the Earth's surface can be decreases because the sun rays falls upon the equator is vertically falling upon the equator. Yes, no. Then, as we are moving towards to north pole, means northern latitude and the southern latitudes, the sun rays falls upon the latitudes slantly or not? Slantly. So this is the reason the average temperature has been decreasing from the equator towards to poles. And the one more reason is that the Earth is spherical in shape, so that no places upon the surface can receive the same amount of temperature from the sun. Right now. So where the Earth is budged, there the heat is more. Hence, there the insolation is more. That is why the intensity of temperature is more at the lower latitudes than the upper latitudes. Here intensity is more, here heat is more because the Earth is budged here itself. So then towards 2 poles, here it is compressed or not? Poles are going to compress. So this is the reason the sun rays falls upon the Earth's surface while moving towards 2 poles become slant. So this is the reason the average temperature of the Earth's surface can be decreases as we are moving towards 2 poles from the equator. So based on the receiving temperature, the Earth can be classified as 3 zones. They are tropical, temperate, and polar zones. So tropical zone in between Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn. 23.5 degree northern latitude is called Tropic of Cancer. Next 23.5 degree southern latitude is called Tropic of Capricorn. In between Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn is called tropical belt. This is tropical belt. See, tropical belt is hotter than other belts. Right now. See, next near the poles, the belt is known as polar belt. This is polar belt. Right now. This is also polar belt. Next, in between tropical belt and polar belt is called temperate belt. This is temperate belt. Temperate belt. So when we have seen the temperature of these 3 belts, which belt can be receiving highest amount of temperature, or which belt can be recording highest amount of temperature? Tropical belt only, because there the monthly average temperature is more and the intensity of temperature is higher at tropical belt. Intensity of temperature, this part can be receiving highest amount of solar radiation from the sun, because here Earth is buzzed, isn't it? That is why this entire belt, this entire zone is hotter than the tropics and temperate and polar belts. In temperate belt, the temperature is moderate, not too cool, not too hot. Next, coming into polar belt is always cool, isn't it? Because the Earth is compressed over here. Here the Earth is compressed, and the sun rays have been taking longer time to reach the poles. So this is the reason the polar belt is always cooler and frigid and covered snow. So based on the receiving temperature, the Earth can be divided into three zones: tropical, temperate, and polar belts. Here, the latitude, one of the factors influencing climate and weather, isn't it? The lower latitudes has been receiving highest amount of temperature than the upper latitudes are. Here, lower latitude in the sense that the latitudes nearby the equator is called lower latitudes. The latitudes which are far away from the equator called as upper latitudes. So just imagine that which latitudes of Earth can be receiving highest amount of temperature? The lower latitudes. Here, the intensity of temperature is more than the upper latitudes. That is why, as we are moving from the equator towards two poles, temperature decreases. This is important point. Okay, and the countries which are nearby the equator are hotter than the countries far away from the equator. Best example, Indonesia. See, Indonesia is nearby the equator. That is why Indonesia is hotter than when we follow upon Tokyo itself, isn't it? So Tokyo is far away from the equator. So the countries which are nearby the equator hotter than the countries far away from the equator. And one more best example, Kanyakumari with Bhopal. You know, see the map. You know, Kanyakumari is southmost tip of India, right? This is Kanyakumari. Next to this, here it is Bhopal. So Bhopal is the capital of Madhya Pradesh. See, according to latitude, distance from the equator, which is hotter, either Kanyakumari or Bhopal. See, just imagine that here it is 0 degree of the latitude. This is equator. Right now, as per this feature, as per this factor, the countries which are nearby the equator is hotter than the countries far away from the equator. See, which is nearby the equator? Either Kanyakumari is nearby the equator or Bhopal is nearby the equator. Kanyakumari, obviously. So, Kanyakumari is hotter than Bhopal. Right now. And the tropic of Cancer, which passes through India, can be divided India into two equal parts. Right now. And India lies in two belts. That is tropical belt and temperate belt. Northern part of India under tropical belt, southern part of India comes under southern part of India comes under tropical belt, northern part of India comes under temperate belt. Isn't it? As I told you that tropical belt is hotter. So South India is hotter than North India because South India comes under tropical belt in between Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn. Isn't it? And the belt which is above the Tropic of Cancer is called temperate belt. See, obviously what happening? Tropical belt has been receiving highest amount of solar radiation from the sun than temperate and polar belts. This is the reason South India is hotter than North India. Okay. South India comes under tropical belt, North India comes under temperate belt. So this is the reason Kanyakumari is hotter than Bhopal. So I hope you understand that latitude and distance from the equator can influence climate and weather. Right? Next, coming into second factor, land and water relationship. So India has the longest coastal line, you will know. Second factor is land and water relationship. India has the longest coastal line, right? From Gujarat to West Bengal. This is the coastal line. And you will know that India is a peninsula which covers three sets of water. In the East Bay of Bengal, in the West Arabian Sea, in the South Indian Ocean direct. Isn't it? So from Gujarat to West Bengal, the length of coast is 6,100 kilometers. Right now, see here the factor is land and water relationship. As you well known, the ocean absorbs and loses heat more slowly than the land. Once again, the ocean, which is in the east, west and south, this is entire ocean part or not? The water or the ocean can absorbing heat and losses heat more slowly than the land, isn't it? So this is the reason the climate of India can be affected by the water. You know, this is the reason the cool breezes comes out from the water towards the lands. Okay, and the hot breezes which are comes out from the land towards to water. Yes, no. Once again, I repeated, land and water relationship it is. India has the longest coastal line. The ocean can absorbing and losses heat, absorbing heat faster, losses heat also faster than the land, isn't it? So this is the reason the cool and hot breezes comes out from the land towards to water and the water towards to land, isn't it? Obviously, cool breezes can reduce the temperature of coast and hot breezes can increase the temperature, as we well learned in 9th class. Simple atmosphere lesson. As I am telling you that most of the people reaches beaches during summer. Why the people are visiting beaches? Because the beaches are very cool during peak summers also. Because from the ocean part, the cool breezes coming towards the coast. Simple. That is why the coastal areas has been experiencing equable climate or moderate climate. So this is important term of the word equable or moderate climate. So what is equable mean? The day and night temperatures and the summers and winter temperature doesn't means much more it is. Doesn't change. For example, the day and night temperature is 20 degrees Celsius only. Even the winter and summers also. Generally, the countries or the states or the regions which are far away from the coast. Example, Bhopal I told you, or else Hyderabad. So which is very far away from the coast or not. So Hyderabad has been experiencing hot climate during summers, cool climate during winter. You have seen that the summers and winter temperature, even the day and night temperature is of a much variation than this. But not coastal areas. Example guys are Chennai, Cochin, Trivandrum, Mumbai are the coastal areas has been experiencing moderate climate. It's been the temperature of day and night and the winters and the summers doesn't change. Not much more it is. Not more than 20 degrees Celsius, isn't it? So this is why the coastal areas has been experiencing equable climate or moderate climate because of this factor only. Right now. So what is the factor? Land and water relationship. Once again, the ocean absorbing and losses heat more slowly than the land. Okay, this is the effect of cool and hot breezes. The cool breezes coming from the water towards the land can reduce the temperature of coastal areas particularly. So the coastal climate or the coastal weather can changes because of cool breezes. Yes, so when the cool breezes comes towards the land, obviously what happens? The land temperature can reduces. No. Best example. So when you sit nearby the cooler during summers, how do you feel? You feel cool or not? Okay, than outside. The people who sit nearby the cooler, they feel cool than the people who are far away from the cooler itself. Because from the cooler, cool breezes comes. In the same way, from the ocean part, cool breezes come towards to land. Yes, no. This is why the coastal areas has been experiencing cool climate. That is called moderate climate or equable climate. Here, equable means the day and night temperatures and the summers and winter temperature doesn't change. Not much more it is. Clear? So this is second factor can influence weather and climate. Right now. Next, coming into third factor is altitude. Altitude. Here, what is mean altitude? Nothing but height from the sea level. Generally, we are measuring the physical features or the relief features from the sea level only. Example, plateaus or plains or the mountain ranges. Or measuring the height of them now. How do we measure the height? From the mean sea level that we called as MSL. Right now. See, here altitude means height from the sea level. Explain the places which are higher, cooler than the places which are on the plains. It means as the height increases, temperature decreases, or as altitude increases, temperature decreases. So this is important sentence. As altitude or height increases, temperature decreases. So this is the reason the highest places have been recording lowest temperature than the lowest elevated places. Example, Simla, Mussoorie, Nainital, Darjeeling, Ooty. Where are they? They are upon the hills. You know, Ooty upon the Nilagiri hills. Maximum more than 2000 meters height. Isn't it? That is why the highest places have been recording lowest temperature. I hope you well know the temperature reduces 6 degrees Celsius once every 1000 meters. Now for once every 1000 meters, 6 degrees Celsius temperature drops. That is why as height increases, temperature decreases. So the highest places of our country which are situated upon the hills are cooler during peak summers also. Example, Simla, Mussoorie, Nainital, Ranikhet, Darjeeling, Simla, Kodaikanal are very cooler even peak summers also. So why they are cooler? Because they are maximum height from the sea level. Okay. So height can influence the weather and climate. As height increases, the temperature decreases. That is 6 degrees Celsius once every 1000 meters. So I understood that altitude or height is one of the factors can influence climate and weather. Right. Next, coming on the fourth factor is upper air circulation. Upper air circulation. See, the northern hemisphere. The northern hemisphere, you know very well, just have to see the map. This is equatorial well known. This is northern hemisphere. This is southern hemisphere. Right? So northern hemisphere can rising the winds, which is particularly in subtropical high pressure belt. So based on the receiving temperature, the earth can be divided into 7 pressure belts first of all. Here pressure in the sense the pressure can be changes based on the temperature. If temperature increases, yes, no, pressure decreases. The temperature increases, pressure decreases. If the temperature decreases, pressure increases. So pressure in the sense of air pressure it is. The air molecules are more in the air, there is a high pressure. The air molecules are wider or spread in the air due to heat, there is a low pressure, isn't it? So depends upon the temperature, the pressure can be decided. High pressure or low pressure. As you well know, that is spherical shape. There no place upon that surface, but they receive the same amount of heat from the sun. You well know, right now. So that is why the places which are near the equator is very hotter. As example, tropical belt is hotter now. So there is low pressure belt. Example, equatorial low pressure belt. Equatorial low pressure belt. Here it is low pressure because here heat is more low, and temperature is higher now. That is why here low pressure can be reported. Right? See, then above the low pressure, there is a high pressure belt. That is called subtropical high pressure belt. So my dear students, the wind always blows from high pressure towards to low pressure. Here in the northern hemisphere, the winds has been rising in the subtropical high pressure belt and moving towards to equatorial low pressure belt from the northeastern towards to southwest. Right now, from northeast towards to southwest. Here the wind directions here from the northeast towards to southwestern. Here this wind which consists of moisture, they are the moisture winds and also called trade winds, isn't it? What we call so trade winds. So they called as northeast trade winds in northern hemisphere and southeast trade winds in southern hemisphere. Clear? So these winds has been moving from subtropical high pressure belt towards to equatorial low pressure belt. Clear? So when the winds entered in the equatorial low pressure belt can be rise up. That is why we call them as upper air currents. Yes, no. The climate of India also affected by upper air currents called as jet streams. One more question. What are jet streams? Upper air currents are called jet streams. You know the difference between wind and current. Wind blows parallel towards to earth. So the parallel. The current blows from downstream to upstream. So because of pressure variation only. Right now, when the winds entered in the low pressure belt, then the winds rise up with 12,000 meters height. 12,000 nothing but 12 kilometers. Isn't it? So due to rise of these winds, what happens? There would be a low pressure creates. Low pressure in the sense of then no molecules are present in the air. There can be spread. There can be heat and rise up. Isn't it? So that is why the climate of India also influenced by upper air currents called as jet streams. Isn't it? So then the speed of the stream is 110 kilometer per hour in winter, 184 kilometer per hour in summer. Sorry, this is summer, this is winter. Summer. The summer speed is 110, the winter speed is 184 kilometer per hour. The speed of the streams are simple. The winds has been moving from subtropical high pressure belt towards to equatorial low pressure belt. Simple. So as you can know, the winds are always moving from one pressure belt to another pressure belt continuously it is. That's why we call them as polar winds. Sorry, planetary winds we call them as. Planetary winds are. Hence they covered entire the planet blows continuously. Right now. So while the wind has been blowing from one pressure to another pressure, I mean from high pressure towards low pressure, obviously what happens? So due to heat which present in the equatorial low pressure, the wind rise up. The wind rise up. That is 12,000 meters height which present in equatorial low pressure belt. So northern part of India has been experiences upper air currents. Yes, no. You may have seen that the upper air current which find in 25 degree northern latitude, which can change the temperature of 25 degree northern latitude. I mean the places which are along the 25 degree northern latitude, that places can be recording lowest temperature because of jet streams only. Yes, no, have to remember that what are upper air currents? The fast flowing air currents are called upper air currents, also called jet streams. The speed of jet stream is 110 km per hour in summer, 184 km per hour in winter. So these jet streams can influencing the Indian climate and weather. The climate of India can be changes by movement of these upper air currents, isn't it? So then the neighboring atmosphere can be cools down because of easterly and westerly jet streams are, isn't it? So this is the fourth factor which can be influencing climate and weather. So they have to remember that four of the factors can influence climate and weather. What are they? Latitude, distance from the equator, land and water relationship, altitude, and upper air circulation. Yes, no. These four factors are very important for examination point of view. Their question is that what are the factors can influence climate and weather? Or what are climatic controls? Yes, no. As per this change in pattern now, you may get to 8 marks from this. isn't it? The student who remember this 4 factors can get out 8 marks. Clear? Next, let us moving on the seasons. Right? So India has been experiencing 3 seasons you will learn. That is winter, summer, and advancing monsoon. So let us moving on. The first season is winter will start. Yes, no. Winter starts in the month of mid-November to February it is. Clear? So in mid-November, gradually the temperature can be drops. Most part of India, that is particularly northeastern part of India experiencing very less temperature, that is below 10 degrees Celsius during the time of winter. So do you know the coolest month in winter is January is the coolest month. Right now, the January temperature drops to below 10 degrees Celsius in northeastern part of India than the southern. Right now, see, during this time, the northern part of India experiences western disturbances. They are called cyclonic depressions. Very important. What are western disturbances? What are western disturbances? Here, western disturbances are cyclonic depressions, which are coming from Mediterranean Sea. Right now, so during the time of winter, northern part of India has been receiving cyclonic depressions from the Mediterranean Sea. They were called as western disturbances. This is 2 mark question. What are western disturbances? Cyclonic depressions, which are coming from Mediterranean Sea, called as western disturbances. So these cyclone rainfall, which are very helpful to northern part of India, particularly for winter crop or Rabi crop it is. Right now, the winter cropping season is called Rabi. See, the mostly the northern states has been cultivating wheat during this season. Yes, sir. Wheat is a winter crop now. Like what Punjab, Haryana, UP, Bihar, or the states can be cultivated wheat during this season. Right now. So during that time, the wheat need rainfall. The wheat need water. So these cyclones can be give water for wheat crop. So the wheat crop can be receiving the rainfall during the time of winter by western disturbances. See, which crop of northern part of India can be receives rain during winter? Northern part of India, isn't it? From these western disturbances only. Clear? And during the time of winter, the coastal, particularly eastern part of India, like eastern coast of India, also receiving rainfall. Means little rainfall it can get. So just have to see then the eastern part of India. And this is east coast or not. The east coast can be receiving the rainfall during the time of winter, called as cyclonic rainfall. You know, tropical cyclones are common during the time of winter in Bay of Bengal. Near Andaman area, cyclones occurs during the time of winter. You might have seen that the eastern part of India, the east coast of India, particularly Tamil Nadu or Andhra Pradesh, has been receiving cyclonic rainfall during November, December months. So why? Because during this time there would be a low pressure belt creates in northwestern part of India towards to Bay of Bengal. This pressure belt can be rising the temperature and occurring tropical cyclones in Bay of Bengal near Andaman area. Yes, sir. So the tropical cyclones are commonly during the time of winter can give the rainfall to eastern coast, particularly Tamil Nadu and Andhra Pradesh, or Coromandel coast and Sarkar coast. So this is very important. So which are the following coast of India receiving temperature during winter by cyclonic depressions? Coromandel coast, isn't it? Under Sarkar. First of all, have to remember Coromandel coast is very nearby the Andaman Nicobar Islands, and the Coromandel coast gets a bulk of rainfall during the time of winter than the other seasons. Generally, India has to be receive rainfall during rainy season or advancing monsoon season, except Coromandel coast. Coromandel coast under rain shadow region. Under rain shadow region. Means this is situated parallel to Arabian Sea branch and Bay of Bengal branch. These were the monsoon branches which can give rainfall to India itself. So this goes parallel to Bay of Bengal monsoon branch and Arabian Sea monsoon branch. This is the reason the Coromandel coast doesn't receive rainfall during advancing monsoon. That is from June to September. June to September monsoon is a rainy season for entire the nation, except this Coromandel coast or Tamil Nadu coast. Why? Because this is under rain shadow region. This is parallel to both the monsoon branches. That is why this coast can be receiving rainfall during winter rain. Why? Cyclonic depressions occurs in Bay of Bengal. My dear students, you have seen the news during November and December months, cyclones starts from Bay of Bengal hitting the coastal areas, particularly Tamil Nadu and Andhra Pradesh, isn't it? So due to cyclonic depressions only, this coast can receive rainfall during the time of winter. So this is the importance of winter season. My dear students, the winter starts in the month of November, mid-November to February. January is the coldest month in winter. During this time, the temperature recorded below 10 degrees Celsius in northeastern part of India. And during this particular season, northern part of India getting cyclonic rainfall called as western disturbances, and the east coast of India also gets rainfall during this time by tropical cyclones. Tropical cyclones, isn't it? Next, let us understand, next important season is summer. The summer starts in the month of March. See, summer starts in the month of March, and see that when we entered in the April month, the temperature rises to 37 degrees Celsius. Hence, this is India's average temperature. I'm telling you that 37, right now. So, in the month of May, the temperature reaches to 41 to 42 degrees Celsius also. May month. That is why May is the hottest month in summer. Hottest month it is, because the temperature become high. That is from 41 to 42 degrees Celsius in most part of India. So during this time, the temperature has been increasing from the south towards to north. In summers, temperature has been increasing from south towards to north. During this particular season, I'm telling you that. Clear? See, by end of summers, the pre-monsoon showers are commonly in Deccan Plateau and peninsular India, which helps to early ripening of mangoes and other plantation crops called as pre-monsoon showers or mango showers. So this is important. The question is that what are mango showers? Mango showers are pre-monsoon showers. Pre-monsoon means actual monsoons will enter in our country in the month of June. Right now. So before entering the monsoons, before India gets receiving rainfall, also gets showers. Right now, the first week of June or by end of May month, the peninsular plateau, particularly Telangana, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu states has been receiving showers already. Means very little amount of rainfall, isn't it? That rainfall is very helpful to early ripening of mangoes and other plantation crops. Is called mango showers. Okay, 2 mark question it is what are mango showers? Isn't it? So mango showers mean pre-monsoon showers are commonly on Deccan Plateau, which helps to ripening of mangoes and other plantation crops in peninsular India, called as mango showers. These showers are very helpful to ripening of mangoes. So they called as mango showers. Clear? Next, coming into next quarter, advancing monsoon, third seasons. Advancing monsoon. Actually, advancing monsoon is nothing but rainy season. You know, India has to be received rains during the time of June to September, isn't it? So, but this entire rainy season can be classified as advancing monsoon season and retreating monsoon season. So, based on the receiving rainfall, isn't it? So, let us understand first of all, monsoon, the word derived from an Arabic word, mausam. This is an Arabic word. Monsoon, the word derived from an Arabic word, mausam. Clear? You know, the Arab traders frequently visit our country for trade. Then they noticed that periodically under reversal of wind system, right now India has been receiving winds periodically and reversal of wind system. They observed, they noticed, they called that winds as monsoons. Isn't it? Once again, what is the monsoon? Monsoon means periodically and reversal of wind system is called monsoon. Okay, India has been receiving monsoons, and reversal of wind system also called, isn't it? Because they have to retreat it back towards to India again. Right now, in advancing monsoon season, the winds entered in our countries. They have to enter, and during November, December months, the monsoons will return back again. That is for reversal of wind system. Right now, reversal of wind system is called monsoon. Very important. Clear? So let us moving on. See, the monsoons develops in tropical belt. So this is, you know, very well equator. This is Tropic of Capricorn. This is Tropic of Cancer. Clear? So India lies here. Okay? Just imagine that India here itself. Right? See, first of all, the monsoons are moisture winds. Generally, monsoons are nothing but moisture winds only, right? Which give rainfall to India. The monsoons which develops in tropical belt, in between the tropical belt only. So this is under tropical belt or not? Clear? See, in southern part of India, I mean, in southern hemisphere, the winds starts as southeast trade winds. No, southeast trade winds in the southern hemisphere. This is southeast or not? Southeast trade winds southern hemisphere. Okay, we're moving towards to north because the northern part of India experiences low pressure. Low pressure it is. How low pressure occurs? Based on the receiving temperature, based on the heat which prevails in northern part of India. You know, during summers, northern part of India is much hotter, isn't it? So due to highest temperature, the northern part of India becoming hot. I mean, the air which is over northern part of India heat and rise up. So there would be a low pressure belt creates because of highest temperature. As I told you that the wind always blows from low pressure, high pressure towards to low pressure. At the same time, high pressure situated in the Indian Ocean part. This is the entire Indian Ocean part now. Here high pressure situated. Okay, generally the wind always moving from high pressure towards to low pressure. So these winds which starts from high pressure can carry the moisture. They are the moisture winds that can carry the moisture because they have been moving from ocean towards to land. No, here the winds has been moving from ocean towards to land or from water towards to land. The wind which are moving from water towards to land can be carrying the moisture, isn't it? So they are the moisture winds called as monsoons. Right now, actually, monsoons which develops in tropical belt. Okay, particularly in southern hemisphere. Right now, as south southeast trade winds or southeast monsoons, isn't it? See, the southeast monsoons, when they reaches equator, this is equator, no? Reaches equator, they deflect towards to southwest. Deflect towards to southwest. Generally, the monsoons which starts from southern hemisphere as southeast monsoons, because the direction is southeast or not, so we call them as southeast monsoons. But due to rotation of the earth, okay, when the reaches equator, they deflected towards to southwest, so that we called as southwest monsoons or advancing monsoon. Right now, southwest monsoons. So when they were entered in which month they were entered in India? In the month of June. In the month of June they have to enter, isn't it? So in the beginning of June, the southmost tip of India, particularly Malabar coast or the Kerala coast, can be receiving first rain, because this is the first part now which can be receiving the monsoons or the moisture winds. That is why this coast of India gets the first rain in India. What coast? Kerala coast or Malabar coast, by southwest monsoons. I hope you are understanding how the monsoons are going to develop. Actually, monsoons developed in Indian Ocean, particularly in southern part of India, that is in between Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn. I mean, in tropical belt they develop. Right now. So, developed in the sense of they have to start from the southern hemisphere and moving towards the north by carrying the moisture. Isn't it? As they were southeast monsoons, but due to rotation of the earth, it can be deflected, turned towards to southwest as southwest monsoons, isn't it? So when they reaches India, they can be divided into two branches. Yes, so the monsoons can be divided into two branches. That is Bay of Bengal branch and the Arabian Sea branch. Now this is Arabian Sea now. This is Bay of Bengal now. See, the southmost tip of India can be dividing the monsoons into two branches. This is Bay of Bengal, this is Arabian Sea branch. The Bay of Bengal branch moving towards to north, and hit the Shillong plateau. That Shillong is in Meghalaya, hitting the Shillong plateau and deflect towards to west. Yes, no. Next, Arabian Sea branch has been moving along the Arabian Sea coast and reaches northern part of India while moving parallel to Aravalli mountains. Aravalli mountains or the Rajasthan, then this branch has to be moved parallel to Aravalli mountains and reaches northern part of India. So both the branches reaches India in the beginning of June, called as onset of monsoons. To mark question it is. What is onset of monsoon? Both the branches, again Arabian Sea branch and the Bay of Bengal branch, both the branches reaches India in the beginning of June, called as onset of monsoons. Clear? So these branches can give highest amount of rainfall from June to September. Then India has to be receive bulk of rainfall during June to September months by advancing monsoons or southwest monsoons only. Then advancing monsoon, southwest monsoon, both are the same terminology only. Because the monsoons entered in our country from the southwest. No, this is southwestern part of India, right? That is what we call it as southwest monsoons. Right now, except Coromandel coast, just now I told you that, except Coromandel coast, rest of India receives highest amount of rainfall by advancing monsoon or southwest monsoon. As I told you, because this Coromandel coast, which is parallel to Arabian Sea branch and Bay of Bengal branch, which is parallel. Okay, and the western goes along the west coast of India, and the eastern goes along the east coast, called allow the monsoons into Coromandel coast. Isn't it? Can't be allowed because they are the gods or not, they are the mountains or not. After the mountains can stop these monsoon winds. to encode into Coromandel coast. That is why Coromandel coast is under rain shadow. Rain shadow means no rain, very little rainfall occurs over there. Clear? And one more best example, the Arabian Sea branch which is moving towards north parallel to Aravalli mountains. So these mountains, as they were the highest, doesn't allow the monsoons towards to the western part of Rajasthan. So that is why it is dry. The western part of Rajasthan dry in all the seasons because this is also under rain shadow region. This part doesn't receive rainfall. Okay, from this branch because of Aravalli mountains. Obviously, the mountains can be obstructing the winds, obstructing the moisture winds. Isn't it? See, these advancing monsoons gives the bulk of rainfall to west coast. Along the western coast, along the western coast can be receiving highest amount of rainfall, and northeastern part of India also. Isn't it? Because this branch is directly moved towards the northeast. This branch moving parallel along the western Ghats, isn't it? That is why the western Ghats along the west coast and northeastern part of India can be received highest amount of rainfall during advancing monsoon season. This is how to remember. Yes, the which part of India gets highest amount of rainfall during advancing monsoon? West coast of India and the northeastern part of India gets rainfall. Isn't it? But which coast of India dry during advancing monsoon, or which coast of India doesn't receive rainfall during advancing monsoon? Coromandel coast. Yes, no. The Coromandel coast gets rainfall during winter. I told you by cyclonic depressions which occurs in Bay of Bengal. Right now. So next let us moving on. Okay, retreating of monsoons. So retreating of monsoons means during the time of winter, retreating of monsoons. So during means by end of November and December, during November and December months, yes, no, the change means the climate of India can be changes from hot wet conditions to dry winter conditions. No, from hot wet conditions to dry winter conditions okay, during November to December. So this leads to rising of hot winds. This leads to formation of low pressure belt in northern part of India towards to the Bay of Bengal. See, my dear students, what happens during the time of winter. So this is the northern western part of India right now. Northwestern part of India. See, by November and December months, okay, the sky is cloud free, Then the sun rays which falls upon the earth's surface directly during winter, just have to observe or imagine that November, December months, the sky is cloud free. No clouds which happens in the sky. So then the sun rays which falls upon the surface directly or not. So this is the reason the northern part of India, particularly towards to south. When northwest towards to Bay of Bengal is entire, which can be create low pressure. In which months? November to December months. Actually, this is winter season, but night is too cool than the day. Day is hotter because the day can be received highest amount of solar radiation from the sun. Yes, no. This is the reason there will be a low pressure belt occurs. As I told you that if temperature increases, the pressure can decreases. Isn't it? So this low pressure obviously can be receiving the winds from the high pressure. The wind always blows from high pressure towards to low pressure. A low pressure occurs in northwestern part of India towards to the Bay of Bengal. Isn't it? This is entire Bay of Bengal now. Here Andaman Nicobar Islands were that. Isn't it? So due to this low pressure, this pressure can be receiving the winds from all high pressures. All high pressures. Clear? So when the winds reaches this low pressure area, particularly in the Bay of Bengal near Andaman area, the water can be rotated itself. Water can be rotated. Yes, no. So then the water rotates and leads to occurring cyclones. Isn't it? So the tropical cyclones which were common in the Bay of Bengal, which can be hitting the coastal areas in the month of November and December months. As I told you just now, it happens during winter only. You know, the Andhra Pradesh coast and Tamil Nadu coast gets rainfall by cyclonic depressions, cyclonic rainfall. How cyclones occur? Because this low pressure belt only. How this low pressure belt creates? By retreating of monsoons. The monsoons which can return back again from the northeast. So what's to Bay of Bengal? This is okay, northeastern part of India. No? You know, the Himalayas is present in northeastern part of India, right? As the highest mountains can be, yes, no, obstructing the monsoons and yes, deflecting them towards to northern part of India towards the Bay of Bengal it is. Generally, the monsoon which enters from southwest, yes, no, spreading enter the nation, gives rainfall, and the same monsoons can be returned back from northeast. That's why we call it as retreating of monsoons or northeast monsoons. Clear? So these northeast monsoons are rising the temperature over northern part of India towards the Bay of Bengal. So this Bay of Bengal can be creates low pressure and receiving the winds from the high pressure, leading to occurring tropical cyclones. Right now, so tropical cyclones which are occurred near Andaman area, right now, which can be hitting the coastal areas. Right now, so this is the reason the Coromandel coast gets receiving rainfall during retreating of monsoon season or winter, both the same, because during this the winter we are in winter season right now. So winter season also called retreating of monsoon season. Clear? So during this time, the Coromandel coast can be receiving the highest amount of rainfall by cyclonic depressions. So this is very important bit. Just have to observe it. So which part of India or which coast of India did not receive rainfall during advancing monsoon? Coromandel coast. Coromandel coast dry during advancing monsoon season. That is from June to September. Doesn't receive rainfall because this coast which is parallel to Bay of Bengal and Arabian Sea coast. This is a rain shadow reason I told you that. But this coast can be receiving rainfall during retreating of monsoon or from November to December months or during winter. Yes, so this coast gets rainfall during winter rain by cyclonic depressions which occurred in Bay of Bengal. Isn't it? So today's class what we discussed, what are the factors influencing climate and weather? 4 factors we discussed. First factor latitude. Okay, second factor is land and water relationship. Third factor altitude. Fourth factor is upper air circulation. Next important topic what we discussed, seasons. What are the seasons we discussed? Winter, summer and advancing monsoon. And also discussed that how monsoons developed. Okay, how India receiving rainfall we discussed, right? Okay, today's class. Tomorrow in the class I discuss about so what is global warming or what is anthropogenic global warming. Yes, no. How India has been suffering about this rising of temperatures. Like how this current burning topic today is, we'll discuss tomorrow in the class. Yes, thank you all. Have a nice day.